Serafina. Setting up a meeting with someone who tried to have you assassinated is probably the kind of decision that gets filed under Darwin Award nominees, but here we fucking are. The contact info came through encrypted channels. Professional, clean, the kind of communication that screams legitimate business inquiry instead of trap designed by homicidal relatives. Should have been my first red flag. The meeting spot is neutral territory. A cafe in Brooklyn that does artisanal coffee and probably money laundering on the side. I show up early, scope the exits, check for suspicious activity. All the paranoid bullshit father drilled into me during those late-night strategy sessions. Ms. Dorian? The guy approaching my table looks like central casting ordered generic businessman and 3. Expensive suit, forgettable face, briefcase that probably costs more than most people's rent. That's me. Thank you for agreeing to meet. My employer has some information you might find valuable. Your employer being someone who knew your mother very well. The coffee I just sipped turns to acid in my stomach. Knew her how? Family connections, very old ones. He slides an envelope across the table. Inside are photographs, my mother as a teenager, laughing with people I don't recognize. But the family resemblance is undeniable. Same dark eyes, same stubborn jawline. These are your relatives, the ones who've been searching for you. That's when the room starts spinning. Not emotional spinning. Actual physical, everything is tilting sideways spinning. That means someone just introduced foreign chemicals to my bloodstream. What did you... But I'm already falling. Consciousness sliding away like water down a drain, and the last thing I see is generic businessman's face, morphing into something that's definitely not forgettable. Waking up feels like clawing my way out of a grave made of cotton and regret. The room I'm in screams old money and older secrets, marble floors, oil paintings of dead people in expensive clothes, and enough gold leaf to fund a small country's GDP. It's beautiful in the same way poisonous snakes are beautiful, objectively stunning, definitely deadly. My hands are zip-tied to a chair that probably costs more than my car used to. Classy. You're awake. Good. The voice comes from behind me, and when I turn my head I see him, Don Castellano, looking like he stepped out of a Godfather movie and into my personal nightmare. Let me guess, this isn't a social call. On the contrary, this is the most social call you'll ever receive. He moves around to face me, settling into another obscenely expensive chair. Do you know who I am? A dead man walking if my father finds out about this. His laugh could freeze hell. Your father, Antonio Dorian, the man who stole my sister and turned her into something she was never meant to be. Your sister? Maria. Your mother. He leans forward and I can see the family resemblance now. Same bone structure, same predatory smile. My blood, my family, my responsibility. The pieces click together like bullets sliding into a chamber. You're my uncle. I am. And you, my dear niece, are finally coming home. This isn't home. This is a goddamn kidnapping. This is family business. Family business? The laugh that comes out of me could power a small generator. You murdered my mother. You tried to have me killed. That's not family. That's terrorism with a genetic connection. His face goes cold. Your mother betrayed our blood. Chose an outsider over her own family. She forgot where she came from. She escaped from where she came from. She was trafficked, Serafina. Sold like cattle by people who should have protected her. Antonio may have saved her, but he also poisoned her against us. Maybe because you were the ones doing the trafficking? The slap comes fast, sharp enough to make my ears ring, but I don't flinch, won't give him the satisfaction. Maria belonged with her family. Just like you do. I belong with my father, the man who actually protected me instead of trying to murder me. Antonio filled your head with lies. Antonio told me the truth, that you're a psychopathic piece of shit who thinks women are property. Another slap. This one hard enough to split my lip. You'll learn respect. I'll learn to spit blood in your face. And I do. Right across his expensive suit, watching the red droplets stain the silk like tiny promises of violence. He doesn't hit me again. Just smiles that cold, calculating smile that makes my skin crawl. You have spirit. Just like Maria did, before we taught her better. You didn't teach my mother anything except why she needed to run. Maria learned her place eventually, just like you will. My place is wherever the fuck I decide it is. Your place, he says, standing up and smoothing his tie, is with your family, your real family, the blood that made you. Blood doesn't make family, love does. And there's no love here. There will be, given time. There won't be, given anything. He walks to the window, looking out at grounds that probably require a small army of groundskeepers. You think you're alone in this. You think it's just you against us. It is just me against you. No, Serafina, it's not. Something in his tone makes my blood turn to ice. What does that mean? He turns back to me, and his smile could power a nuclear winter. You'll change your mind after you meet the others we kept alive. Serafina. Follow me. Castellano's leading me down a hallway that screams bad things happen here in 17 different architectural languages. Marble floors polished to perfection, oil paintings of dead patriarchs judging everyone from their golden frames, and the kind of oppressive silence that makes you understand why people invented hell. We stop at a steel door that looks like it belongs in a bank vault, not a family mansion. He punches in a code, and when it swings open, my stomach drops into my fucking shoes. There are 4 people chained to the wall like they're part of some medieval torture exhibit. 3 men and 1 woman, all bearing that particular brand of exhaustion that comes from prolonged captivity. But their eyes are alert, angry, definitely not broken. Let me introduce you to your extended family, Castellano says, gesturing like he's conducting a goddamn orchestra. Dorian loyalists who forgot where their allegiances should lie. The woman looks up, and Jesus Christ, she looks exactly like my mother. Same bone structure, same defiant tilt to her chin. Serafina. Her voice is hoarse but hopeful. Maria's daughter? Yeah. And you are? Your aunt, your mother's cousin, Veronica. Aunt, Veronica. The one father mentioned exactly once, in passing, during one of his stories about the old days. The one who supposedly died in a car accident 15 years ago. You're supposed to be dead. Convenient story. Easier than admitting I was kidnapped for refusing to betray your father. Castellano's smile could power a small nuclear reactor. Family reunions are so touching, don't you think? What do you want? Simple. Sign this. He produces a document from his jacket. Transfer of allegiance from the Dorian family to the Castellano family. Your bloodline returns to where it belongs. And if I refuse? Then your newfound relatives become significantly less alive. I look at the 4 people chained to the wall, at Veronica who has my mother's eyes, at the men who've probably been here for months or years because they stayed loyal to my father. You're holding them hostage. I'm holding family. There's a difference. There's really not. Sign the paper, Serafina. Your signature saves 4 lives and brings you home where you belong. My home is with my father. Your father is dying. Cancer, remember? In 6 months, maybe less, you'll be alone anyway. The casual cruelty of it makes me want to tear his throat out with my bare hands. Fuck you. Sign the paper. Make me. That's when the world explodes. Literally fucking explodes. The far wall disintegrates in a shower of brick and mortar, and what sounds like the apocalypse having a temper tantrum. Through the dust and debris comes Adrian, moving like he's the star of an action movie and the director gave him carte blanche to destroy everything. He's got a rifle in his hands and murder in his eyes, followed by what looks like half the Dorian army. Get down, he shouts, but I'm already dropping, muscle memory from our training sessions kicking in like autopilot. Gunfire erupts around us. Castellano dives behind a marble pillar that probably costs more than most people's houses, shouting orders in Italian that definitely aren't requesting tea and cookies. Adrian moves like liquid violence, taking out Castellano's security with precision that would make Navy SEALs weep with envy. The Dorian men spread out behind him, covering exits and corners with the kind of coordination that only comes from serious training. The keys! Veronica shouts over the gunfire. Panel by the door! I army crawl across the floor, glass and debris cutting through my dress, my palms. Everything hurts, but pain is just information, and right now the information is telling me to move or die. The key panel opens with a electronic beep, and I'm fumbling through numbered keys while bullets ping off marble like deadly wind chimes. Hurry! Adrian's voice cuts through the chaos. I find the right keys, unlock the chains, and Veronica and the others are moving faster than people who've been captive for months should be able to move. This way! One of the Dorian soldiers gestures toward the hole that used to be a wall. That's when I feel it. Sharp, burning pain tearing through my shoulder. I look down and see blood spreading across my dress like spilled wine. Shit! Adrian appears beside me like he materialized from thin air. How bad? Bad enough. Can you move? Do I have a choice? No. He scoops me up like I weigh nothing, and suddenly we're running through the hole in the wall, past unconscious guards, and into the night air that tastes like freedom and gunpowder. The car is already running, doors open, engine screaming. Adrian slides me into the back seat and we're moving before I can process what just happened. Hospital, someone says. No, I manage. Safe house first, questions later. My shoulder feels like someone's taking a blowtorch to it, but I'm alive. Veronica's alive. We're all alive, which is more than I expected 5 minutes ago. Adrian's beside me, checking my wound with hands that know exactly what they're doing. Medical training, probably, along with military training, tactical training, and apparently the ability to coordinate rescue operations like he's done this before. I grab his hand, partly because I need an anchor, and partly because I need answers. You said you weren't part of a family. My voice comes out weaker than I want, but the question needs asking. Then how the hell did you pull that off?
Matteo. The plan failed. Mother's sitting in the parlour like she's announcing the weather instead of the complete destruction of my last chance at salvaging this clusterfuck of a marriage. Failed how? Your wife is alive, safe, and probably planning 17 different ways to have us all killed. Bianca's lounging on the velvet couch, examining her manicure like we're discussing weekend brunch plans instead of kidnapping and attempted murder. Castellano was supposed to handle it. Castellano's an idiot who underestimated Adrian Vasquez. Mother's voice could cut diamond. Apparently your wife's boyfriend has connections we didn't account for. Boyfriend. The word tastes like battery acid mixed with broken glass. He's not her boyfriend. Please. Bianca's laugh could power a small generator. Have you seen the way they look at each other? She's probably fucking him while carrying your child. Shut up. Truth hurts, doesn't it? Yeah. It really fucking does. The rescue was military precision, Mother continues, because apparently my humiliation needs detailed analysis, professional, coordinated. Either Adrian is much more than Lord Ferdinand's driver, or what? Or we severely miscalculated who we're dealing with. Great. Just fucking great. I orchestrated the kidnapping of a woman who's apparently under the protection of someone with serious firepower. And now I'm sitting here listening to my mother dissect exactly how spectacularly I've fucked up my own life. She'll divorce me now, I mutter. She was already divorcing you, Bianca points out helpfully. This just gave her more ammunition. Thank you for that insight. You're welcome. There's only one way to secure the future of this family, Mother says finally, which is, your father needs to die. The words hit the room like a bomb going off in a library. Dead silence, except for the ticking of the antique clock that's been counting down to family disasters for 3 generations. Excuse me? You heard me. Mother's voice doesn't change tone. Your father's will leaves everything to you, but only if you're married. If you're divorced, Bianca gets nothing. The family business goes to distant cousins. We lose everything. So, we make sure I don't get divorced. We tried that. It didn't work. So we accelerate your inheritance. Bianca's sitting up now, eyes bright with the kind of excitement that usually precedes someone getting murdered. Daddy dies of natural causes. You inherit everything. Divorce or no divorce, we're covered. Natural causes? Heart attack. Very sad. Very believable, given his age and stress levels. You want me to kill our father. I want you to secure our future, Mother corrects. The logic is twisted but perfect, but it's still patricide. How? Digitalis, undetectable, mimics heart failure perfectly. Mother produces a small vial from her purse like she's been carrying around murder for casual Tuesday conversations. 2 drops in his evening whiskey. He goes to sleep and doesn't wake up. I stare at the vial. It's smaller than I expected. Amazing how something so tiny can end a life, destroy a legacy, change everything. The divorce papers arrived this morning, I say, instead of taking the poison. Sign them. What? Sign them. Let her think she's won. Mother's smile could freeze hell. You want me to kill father so I can inherit everything? I want you to think strategically instead of emotionally. The divorce papers are sitting on the coffee table like a death certificate for my marriage. 47 pages of legal language that essentially say you fucked up so badly that the state of New York agrees you don't deserve happiness. I sign them. All of them. Every page, every initial, every place that requires acknowledgement that I'm officially the biggest failure in family history. Good, Mother says, taking the papers. Now finish what we started. Father's in his study, reading financial reports like they contain the secrets of the universe. He looks older tonight, frailer. Old age is eating him alive and we all know it. Drink? I ask, pouring 2 glasses of his favorite whiskey. Since when do you join me for drinks? Since I got divorced. Morbid, but accurate. I add the digitalis to his glass. 2 drops, clear as water, disappearing into the amber liquid like they were never there. To family, I say, raising my glass. To family, he agrees. We both lift our glasses. His reaches his lips first, and I'm watching my father prepare to drink his own death, courtesy of his loving son. That's when his eyes open. Not just open, focus, sharp, alert, nothing like the tired old man he's been pretending to be. He sets down the glass without drinking, and looks at me with an expression I haven't seen since I was 12, and got caught stealing from the collection plate. I knew your mother was a whore. And then, deliberately, almost lazily, he takes a sip. My blood turns to ice. He sets the glass down with a soft clink, never breaking eye contact. Cheers, boy.
Serafina. Don Verrelli is dead. The news hits like a gut punch, which catches me completely off guard because I actually give a shit. Unlike the rest of his toxic family, Don Verrelli was the one person in that house who treated me like a human being instead of an inconvenient houseplant. Heart attack, father says, hanging up the phone, peaceful, in his sleep. I set down the pregnancy book I've been pretending to read, and feel something uncomfortably close to grief settle in my chest. Don Verrelli was the ghost who left little kindnesses in his wake, extra blankets during winter, my favorite tea appearing in the kitchen, quiet nods of approval when I navigated family dinners without losing my shit. He never said much, but what he did say mattered. You're stronger than they know, he told me once, after a particularly brutal family dinner where Viviana had spent 2 hours dissecting my inadequacies. Don't let them convince you otherwise. When's the funeral? Tomorrow. Will reading the day after. Will reading. I look up. Why would I need to be there? You're still technically married to Matteo, and specifically requested to attend. By who? The deceased. That's weird. Don Verrelli specifically wanted me at his will reading? The man barely spoke above a whisper in 3 years, but he made sure I'd be present for the legal distribution of his life's work. Adrian's driving you. Adrian's going to a will reading? Also specifically requested. Even weirder. Adrian's got zero connection to the Verrelli family beyond rescuing me from kidnapping attempts and making me question my life choices on a daily basis. The law office screams intimidating wealth in every carefully curated detail. Dark wood that probably costs more per square foot than most people's rent, leather-bound books that exist purely for aesthetic intimidation. And that particular scent of old money mixed with fresh despair. The Verrelli family's already assembled when Adrian and I walk in. Matteo looking like someone told him Christmas is cancelled, Viviana dressed in mourning couture that probably cost more than a car, and Bianca examining her nails like the fate of empires depends on her cuticle maintenance. "What are they doing here?" Bianca's voice could strip paint. "Attending a legal proceeding," I reply. Wild concept, I know. "You have no business." "Actually, Mrs. Verrelli has every legal right to be present," interrupts Mr. Pemberton, the lawyer who looks like he charges by the syllable, as does Mr. Vasquez. Viviana's face goes through 17 different expressions of outrage. She's getting divorced. She's not divorced yet. The family dynamic is perfect. 3 vultures circling what they assume is their inheritance, and 2 confused bystanders wondering why they're part of this legal theatre. "Shall we begin?" Pemberton opens a folder thick enough to double as a weapon. "Just cut to the chase," Matteo says. "How much do I get?" Pemberton's smile could power a small city. That's the interesting part. "You don't." The silence that follows is so complete you could hear a trust fund dropping. "I'm sorry, what?" Viviana's voice climbs several octaves. Don Verrelli was very specific about his final wishes. The entire estate, properties, business interests, liquid assets, everything, goes to one person. Matteo, Bianca states like she's announcing a universal truth. "No." "What do you mean, no?" Matteo's face is cycling through the color wheel like a broken mood ring. "I mean the entirety of the Verrelli estate goes to Adrian Vasquez." Serafina. The silence lasts exactly 3 seconds before Bianca completely loses her shit. "This is fucking insane!" She's on her feet, designer heels clicking against marble like bullets hitting pavement. Some random bastard gets everything. Everything we've worked for? "Bianca, sit down," Viviana hisses, but her voice lacks its usual authority. She looks like someone just told her gravity stopped working. "No, I will not sit down while some Spanish whore's spawn steals our inheritance." Spanish noblewoman, actually, Pemberton corrects with the kind of professional calm that suggests he's witnessed many family meltdowns. Sofia Vasquez was from one of Spain's oldest families. Don Verrelli met her during a business trip to Barcelona 28 years ago. "Noblewoman?" Matteo's voice cracks like he's going through puberty again. "My father had an affair with Spanish nobility and produced a secret heir while I was what? Learning to tie my fucking shoes? It appears so." "This is bullshit," Bianca snarls. "Complete bullshit. Adrian's nobody. He works for Ferdinand, he drives cars, he's more legitimate than either of you." Everyone turns to stare at Pemberton, who's pulling out yet another folder because apparently this legal massacre needs more documentation. "What's that supposed to mean?" Viviana finally speaks, and her voice sounds like she swallowed glass. "It means Don Verrelli discovered some interesting information about his family bloodline before his death." "Oh shit. This is about to get so much worse. Matteo," Pemberton continues, "is not Don Verrelli's biological son." The room doesn't just go quiet, it goes vacuum of space, black hole eating sound quiet. Matteo's face cycles through disbelief, confusion and rage in about 2 seconds flat. "What did you just say?" "DNA testing confirmed it. You are not Don Verrelli's child." "That's impossible." "It's documented science." Viviana makes a sound like a dying animal. No, this can't be happening." "Who's his father?" I ask, because someone has to voice what we're all thinking. "Carlo Benedetto." Benedetto, another family head, another married man, another spectacular scandal that's about to destroy lives. "You had an affair with Carlo Benedetto?" Matteo turns on his mother like she just confessed to war crimes. "It was complicated." "Complicated?" Matteo's laugh could power a small nuclear reactor. "You fucked another man, passed me off as father's son for 30 years, and it's complicated? Don't you dare judge me." "Judge you? I'm processing the fact that my entire identity is built on a lie." Bianca's just standing there, mouth opening and closing like a fish drowning in air. "If Matteo's not, if father isn't, then what does that make me?" "Illegitimate," Pemberton says helpfully. "Both of you." "But I look like him." "You look like your mother, who, genetically speaking, got around more than previously documented." Jesus Christ. Viviana didn't just cheat, she built an entire family on lies. This is incredible, I mutter, and honestly, I'm impressed. The sheer audacity of maintaining this deception for 3 decades while psychologically torturing everyone around you takes serious commitment. So let me get this straight. Adrian speaks for the first time since the bloodline bombshell. Don Verrelli left his fortune to me, his actual son, while the family that treated his daughter-in-law like garbage for 3 years turns out to be genetically unrelated to him. That's correct. And he knew this when he wrote the will. He discovered it shortly after your paternity was confirmed. The timing suggests it influenced his final decision significantly. Adrian looks at me, and something passes between us that I can't quite name. Understanding, maybe, or recognition of the cosmic joke that is our lives. I don't want it, he says suddenly. What? Pemberton blinks. The inheritance. I don't want it. Adrian. I start. I renounce my claim to the Verrelli estate. You can't just renounce. I can, and I am. Transfer it all to Serafina. The room explodes again. Are you insane? Bianca shrieks. You're giving everything to her? She deserves it more than any of us. She's not even family. Neither are you, apparently. Matteo's just sitting there, staring at his hands like they belong to someone else. My whole life is a lie. Welcome to the club, I say. Population, everyone in this room. This is unacceptable, Viviana stands, trying to salvage some dignity from the wreckage of her life. There must be legal recourse, challenges we can file. With what money? I ask. Your husband just left his fortune to his actual son, who's giving it to the woman you spent 3 years torturing. Good luck affording lawyers. The look she gives me could melt steel, but I'm past caring about Viviana's feelings. The paperwork will take some time to process, Pemberton says. But if Mr. Vasquez is serious about the transfer. I'm serious. Then congratulations, Mrs. Dorian. You've just inherited one of the largest fortunes on the East Coast. I should feel something. Victory, maybe. Satisfaction. But mostly I'm just tired. Tired of family drama, tired of secrets, tired of everyone treating love like a business transaction. Adrian stands up, moves toward me while the Verrelli family implodes in real time behind him. We should go, he says quietly. Yeah, we should. As we head for the door, Bianca's still screaming about injustice and illegitimate bastards, Matteo's having what looks like an existential crisis, and Viviana's probably calculating how many Hail Marys it takes to wash away 30 years of lies. Just as we reach the door, Adrian stops, turns back to me. His voice is soft, meant only for me. I don't want the Empire, I just want you. Serafina. Walking down the aisle in a silk gown that costs more than most people's cars, while visibly pregnant with your ex-husband's baby to marry his secret step-brother is definitely not how I imagined my second wedding would go. But here we are. The dress is perfection. Cream silk that flows like water, cut to accommodate the small but definitely noticeable bump that's been making my life interesting for the past few months. The veil is cathedral length, because if you're going to cause a scandal at your own wedding, you might as well look like an angel while doing it. St. Patrick's Cathedral is packed with every major family on the East Coast, which means I'm walking toward my future husband past about 300 people who have opinions about my life choices. The whispers follow me like expensive perfume, some scandalized, some impressed, all desperately curious about how this particular soap opera episode ends. Father's arm is steady despite everything. He's dying, we both know it. But he insisted on walking me down this aisle like the stubborn, magnificent bastard he's always been. You sure about this, Bambina? He whispers as we make our slow procession toward the altar. Absolutely not. But I'm doing it anyway. His laugh is soft but genuine. That's my girl. Adrian's waiting at the altar in a tuxedo that was definitely tailored by someone who charges by the thread. He looks like he stepped out of a magazine spread titled Men Who Could Ruin Your Life in the Best Possible Way. Which, let's be honest, is exactly what he did. When he sees me, his hand actually trembles. Not the fake, performative kind of emotion you see at most weddings, but genuine, holy shit I can't believe this is happening vulnerability. It's the same expression he had when he refused the Verrelli fortune and gave it all to me instead. The same expression he had 3 months ago when he told me he loved me despite the fact that I come with more baggage than a luxury airport. The same expression he had last week when I asked him if he was sure about marrying a pregnant woman whose life reads like a rejected mafia movie script. More sure than I've ever been about anything, he'd said. And the way he looked at me made my chest do that stupid fluttering thing that I'm pretty sure is love disguised as cardiac arrhythmia. I catch a glimpse of the congregation as father and I make our way toward destiny. The Torinos are here, looking appropriately scandalized. The Russos brought their entire extended family, probably hoping for entertainment. Various other crime families fill the pews like this is the social event of the decade. Father kisses my cheek when we reach the altar, whispers something in Italian that sounds like either a blessing or a threat, and places my hand in Adrian's. "Take care of her," he says, and it's not a request. "Always," Adrian replies, and the single word carries more weight than most people's wedding vows. The ceremony blurs together. Something about sickness and health, richer and poorer, till death do us part. Standard wedding promises that feel surreal when you're making them to someone you met while your life was exploding in real time. But when Adrian slides the ring onto my finger, a simple platinum band that somehow feels more significant than the ostentatious diamond Matteo gave me, everything comes into sharp focus. This is it. This is my choice. Not arranged by families or negotiated through business deals or manipulated by people who think love is a commodity. This is me choosing someone who chose me back. I lean closer to Adrian as he finishes sliding the ring into place, close enough that only he can hear what I'm about to say, close enough that the microphone won't pick up the words that sum up exactly how I feel about this moment, this choice, this beautiful fucking disaster of a life we're about to build together. Let them gossip. I'd still pick you in every version of this life. Serafina. Giving birth while your dying mob boss father waits in the next room to meet his grandson and your husband holds your hand is definitely not what they cover in those cutesy pregnancy books. But here we are. "I'm never having sex again," I announced to the assembled medical team that's turned our master bedroom into something that looks like a very expensive emergency room. "You said that 3 hours ago," Adrian points out, squeezing my hand through another contraction that feels like someone's using my uterus as a stress ball. 3 hours ago I was optimistic about the human race. Now I want to burn down the entire concept of reproduction. Dr. Costello checks whatever medical professionals check down there, and nods like she's conducting a very intimate orchestra. "Almost there. One more big push." "I've been giving you one more big push for the last hour. Are you sure there's actually a baby in there, and not just my will to live trying to escape?" "Very sure. Could be wrong. Could be gas." "It's not gas." "How can you tell? Have you met my digestive system lately? It's been staging its own revolution." Adrian's trying not to laugh, which would be sweet if I wasn't currently attempting to squeeze a human being out of my body, like the world's most painful magic trick. "You're doing amazing," he says, brushing hair out of my face. "I'm doing the biological equivalent of trying to fit a watermelon through a keyhole. Amazing is not the word I'd use. What word would you use?" Astronomical stupidity, criminal negligence of my own body, a conspiracy by the universe to prove that women are significantly tougher than men, because if men had to do this, the human race would have died out after the first guy looked at a baby and said, "Fuck that, I'll just adopt." Another contraction hits, and I'm pretty sure I just invented 17 new curse words in 3 different languages. "Breathe," Dr. Costello instructs. I am breathing, very dramatically, with extensive commentary. Different breathing. "Oh, you want the special breathing? The breathing that magically makes this not feel like my pelvis is being redesigned by someone with no engineering degree. That would be helpful, yes." From the hallway I can hear Father coughing. He's been holding on for this, to meet his grandson, to make sure the Dorian name continues, to witness the next chapter of whatever criminal dynasty we're building. He's also been taking bets with the security team about whether I'll curse more in English or Italian during labor. Current count. English is winning by a landslide, mostly because I know more creative English profanity. "One more push, I mean it this time," Dr. Costello says. You better mean it, because I'm running out of energy and patience. And when I run out of patience, people start getting stabbed. With what? You're giving birth. I'll improvise. I'm very resourceful. Adrian's laughing now, full-on belly laughs that shake the bed. I love you. You love me now. Ask me again when I'm not attempting to violate the laws of physics with my reproductive system. I'll still love you, even if I never want to have sex again. Even then. Good, because, oh fuck. And then suddenly there's a baby. An actual, screaming, perfect little human who apparently decided to make his grand entrance during my philosophical discussion about the absurdity of childbirth. It's a boy, Dr. Costello announces, like we haven't known this for months. It's a person, I correct, staring at this tiny creature who just completed the most dramatic exit in family history. Holy shit, it's actually a person. He's perfect, red and wrinkled and absolutely furious about being evicted from his warm, rent-free apartment, but perfect. Adrian's crying, actually crying, staring at our son like he just witnessed a miracle, which I guess he did. Can we? Father's voice from the doorway, weak but hopeful. Come meet your grandson, I say. Father shuffles in, looking frailer than I've ever seen him, but with eyes that are absolutely blazing with joy. When Dr. Costello places the baby in his arms. Lionel, I say. Lionel Dorian Vasquez. Father's smile could power a small city. Strong name. Good name. He's going to rule the world, Adrian says, still staring at our son like he can't quite believe he's real. Or at least the East Coast, I add. What's his first lesson going to be? Father asks. I look at this perfect little human who's going to inherit criminal empires, family vendettas, and enough psychological baggage to keep therapists employed for generations. That family isn't always blood, I say finally. Sometimes it's the people who choose to love you despite the fact that your life reads like a mafia novel. Father nods approvingly. Good lesson,